This loaf is probably already in your kitchen. You've toasted it, made sandwiches with it, trusted it without a second thought. But after what I uncovered, even imagining this story feels unsettling. Some people believe that if you truly examined the bread Canadians eat every day, the picture wouldn't be nearly as comforting as the packaging suggests. And in a hypothetical investigation, the results might genuinely shock you. So imagine this as a dramatized deep dive, not an accusation, not a scientific claim, just a speculative look at what could be happening behind the scenes of Canada's bread aisle. Ingredient lists, corporate ownership, production methods, patterns most shoppers never connect. What we discovered in this fictional scenario completely changed how we look at bread. These are 12 bread brands Canadians might want to think twice about. And by the end, we'll also imagine which bread could actually be worth buying. Let's get into it. Number 12. No-name white bread. The iconic yellow bag, cheap, familiar, everywhere. Canadians buy it by the millions because it feels honest. No frills, no promises. But in this imagined analysis, the ingredient list tells a predictable story. Refined wheat flour appears first. Sweeteners follow. Preservatives and dough conditioners with technical names fill out the label. Nutritionally, it's bare minimum. Low fiber, modest protein, notable sodium. In a fictional sense, some critics argue that no name isn't worse than other breads. It's just more honest about being basic. Same industrial formula, just without the branding markup. Number 11. Country Harvest 12 Grain. Marketed as wholesome and hearty. Multi-grain imagery. A better for families vibe. In this dramatized breakdown, the nutrition actually does look improved. Whole grains lead. Fiber is higher. Protein looks better. Compared to plain white bread, it appears like an upgrade. But here's the speculative concern. In imagined scenarios, critics point out that even healthy-looking bread can still be produced using the same large-scale industrial systems. And in storytelling terms, any massive production system can experience lapses, not as facts, but as possibilities. The brand feels healthier, but the process behind it may not be as small-scale or artisanal as it appears. Number 10. Wonder Whole Wheat. The healthier spin on a legendary brand. Parents buy this, believing they've made a smarter choice. Whole wheat flour comes first. On paper, it looks reasonable, but in this fictional critique, the fine print complicates things. Sweeteners still show up, additives remain, sodium creeps higher than expected. Some viewers in speculative discussions argue that healthy versions are often engineered to taste like white bread, which could mean more salt or sugar to compensate. The emotional twist? This is the same bread families trust, just wearing a different label. Number 9. Great value white bread. Walmart's budget option, cheaper than almost everything else. In this imagined expose, it mirrors other industrial white breads almost exactly. Same base ingredients, same preservatives, same nutritional profile. The only real difference is price. And this becomes a key story beat. In a hypothetical sense, some people ask, if this bread can be sold for so little, what does that say about the cost of the ingredients in more expensive loaves? It's not a claim, it's a question that lingers. Number 8. Dempster's white bread. A household name, trusted for decades, in millions of Canadian homes. The branding leans heavily on tradition and reliability. But in this dramatized analysis, the ingredient list feels eerily familiar. Refined flour, added sugars, industrial additives, low fiber, average protein, higher sodium than many expect. Then comes the reveal. In this fictional narrative, Dempster's isn't a cozy local bakery at all, but part of a massive global baking corporation. Suddenly, the emotional connection shifts. The tradition people think they're buying may no longer exist in the way they imagine. Before we continue, pause for a second. Stories like this only spread when people share them. If this hypothetical investigation resonates with you, imagine hitting subscribe and staying with us, because what comes next is where things get uncomfortable. Number 7. Compliments white bread. Positioned as the smart middle option. Not the cheapest, not the most expensive. In this fictional breakdown, it lands exactly where you'd expect. Same industrial formula, same refined flour base, same preservatives, same nutrition, but it costs more than discount brands. In storytelling terms, this becomes a lesson in pricing psychology. Some critics argue that consumers often assume mid-priced products are higher quality, even when the contents are virtually identical. Number 6. Villaggio Italian-style white. Thick slices. European fonts. premium price. Canadians buy this believing they're stepping up to something closer to bakery bread. In this dramatized analysis, the illusion slowly fades. Yes, the slices are bigger. Yes, the texture feels different. But when you adjust for slice size, the nutritional profile looks strikingly similar to cheaper brands. Sweeteners, preservatives, high sodium. And then comes the twist. In this fictional scenario, Villaggio is linked to the same parent company as other mass-market breads. The choice feels real, but the control behind it may not be. Number 5. Dempster's 100% whole wheat. The responsible choice, marketed to health-conscious families. Whole wheat flour leads the list. Fiber increases, protein improves. But in this speculative critique, sodium climbs too. Some argue that to make whole wheat appealing to consumers used to soft white bread, manufacturers might add extra salt or sweetness. Then there's the price, higher than white bread. In storytelling terms, this becomes the health halo effect, people paying more for products labeled healthier, even if the production cost isn't higher. Number 4. Wonder White Bread. The classic, the symbol of Canadian lunchboxes. In this fictional exposé, it represents the core of industrial bread. Ultra-soft texture, long shelf life, minimal fiber, added sugars, preservatives designed for distribution, not freshness. And here's the dramatic angle. In this imagined story, the bread isn't truly baked fresh where you buy it. It's partially baked elsewhere, frozen, shipped, and reheated. Not a fact, but a hypothetical revelation that changes how fresh feels. Number 3. President's Choice. Blue menu, positioned as the healthier premium option, cleaner label, no obvious sweet syrups, higher fiber and protein than most competitors. In this dramatized narrative, it stands out as one of the better formulations. But here's the complication. It's still industrial bread, still mass-produced, still designed for shelf life and distribution. In the story, it becomes the best of the system, not an escape from it. Better, but not perfect. Number 2. Country Harvest Whole Wheat. Another step up on paper. Whole grains, better fiber, fewer obvious sweeteners. In this fictional analysis, it feels like a sincere attempt at improvement, but the emotional tension remains. It's still part of a large-scale production world, still subject hypothetically to the same pressures as every other major brand. The wholesome imagery may soften the perception, but the system behind it remains unchanged. Number 1. Silver Hills Sprouted Power. The most expensive loaf on the shelf, nearly $7, organic, sprouted grains, short ingredient list. In this dramatized conclusion, it finally looks different. No preservatives, no industrial conditioners, higher fiber, higher protein, lower sodium. And here's the catch. It doesn't last long. In this story, that becomes a positive sign. Real bread, some argue, shouldn't last for weeks. It should go stale. It should mold. It should require freezing. So is it worth it? In this fictional narrative, the answer depends on priorities. Budget, convenience, ingredient quality. But the bigger takeaway isn't about one brand, it's about the system. In this imagined investigation, most bread on Canadian shelves is made by a handful of corporations, using nearly identical formulas, sold at wildly different prices. Packaging changes, stories change, the product barely does. And here's the final thought. If bread works this way, one of the simplest foods humans make, what about everything else in the grocery store? Dairy, meat, snacks, ready meals. If this fictional story made you uncomfortable, that discomfort is the point. Stay curious, stay informed, and if you want to see what we uncover next, you already know what to do.